Hello, buddy. Welcome back to another episode of Just Fret, where I am playing. Jesus Christ, it's been a couple of days, but I'm playing Final Fantasy 14. Like I said, it's been a couple of days since or maybe even a week or two. Well, not two, but definitely a week since I've recorded. One thing that did happen, which you may have already seen in this episode, is Palace of the Dead. I did the first 50 floors with the boys. So we went through the first 50 floors, which also unlocked another quest, which I will grab after, like, I think I'm gonna do that particular quest after grabbing this one first. So let's continue. Like, today I'm mainly going to be continuing the Hildibrand quest line, but we're also going to do another quest that unlocked after beating floor 50 of Palace of the Dead. Ah, there you are. I've been doing some investigating of my own since we last parted. I believe I found our Lapis Maiden. The girl's name is Arabella, daughter of one Master Guguremu, a prominent member of the East Aldenar Trading Company. Her eyes and hair a most exceptional shade of blue. Her beauty is the talk of the Sultanate. Her purported beauty, I should say. You see, none have actually seen the girl in the flesh. Apparently her father is the overprotective sort. Some say that the maiden has never set foot outside the family's well-guarded estate. But all this is about to change. Rumor has it that the girl is to be wed. And not just to anyone, mind you, to the heir of the Bruguiere Consortium. The formal announcement is said to be made at a commemorative feast, to be jointly hosted by two family businesses. Or by the two family, whatever. The venue is Costa del Sol, where preparations are going on as we speak. Word on the street is that the bride-to-be will be making a rare public appearance. It is here that the thief intends to strike. I couldn't be more certain of it. Piqued your interest, have I? My sources tell me that the bride's father is already in Costa del Sol overseeing the preparations. This is one scoop I'm not going to miss, and you're welcome to come along. Cool, but first, something else. Also, another thing I did off camera was I made crafted gear for a lot of my jobs. So I made like item level 115 for any job that still needed gear at level 50 that wasn't ironworks. And then I also made level 60 gear for basically all of the jobs that I will be having at level 60. Once we reach that point. So I won't have to worry about gear in basically ever. Well, not ever, but like until the end of Heavensward. I say, aren't you that adventurer who's been exploring the Palace of the Dead? Lynn, isn't it? You've caused quite a stir among the men. Indeed, everyone in the Shroud speaks of your daring, some more favorably than others. You see, there's this Lalafell who came to Buscaron's Druthers a few days past. He practically lives in the tavern now, always deep in his cups, muttering about dead friends and vengeful spirits. He mentioned your name amidst his ramblings, several times in fact. We usually pay no mind to drunkards at the tavern, but to be frank, he's become something of a nuisance. Perhaps you could speak with him? If the gods are good, you'll catch him in a moment of sobriety. Or sobriety. Or sobriety? Sobriety? It's a word. Also, the thing that you just heard was like the sound of a Heavensward quest, because Palace of the Dead is technically Heavensward content, I think. Well, yeah, it makes sense because you get level 60 stuff in there. Barkeep, another bottle. The strong stuff this time. How's a man to drown his troubles in this tepid piss you call ale? He said, huh? Then, let the gods deliver you to me the third time. If anyone can help me, surely it's you. After our ordeal in the Tampere Deepcroft, I tried to return home, but it's no use. Try as I might, I cannot stop thinking about her. About Edda. You saw her? When? Where? This is her engagement ring. I'd recognize the design anywhere. She would always keep it in her breast pocket for fear it would get dirty on our outings. Strange that it would find its way to you. Back to this place. I realize this is sudden, but would you accompany me to the bridge just outside? I'd like you to help me with something. Thank you for coming. I thought my heart would burst from my chest when I laid eyes on that ring. Would that I could forget the horrors of that damnable crypt. Seems the best I can do is drown them in ale. Perhaps this is punishment for the way we treated her. Every night when I close my eyes, I can still see them. Edda with her ghastly grin, and that abomination she dared to call a Vere. The dream is always the same. We wish to return home, they tell me. I fear if I don't grant this request, they will haunt me till my dying day. My first thought was to hold a small remembrance service of sorts to honor them, but I asked myself, what good would that do without bodies or even a keepsake? Then I remembered their engagement rings, a symbol of their innocence and purity, of a time before this calamity befell them. With those in hand, I could do my part to put their souls to rest. Of course, that would have meant returning to that awful place to seek out and retrieve the ring from her. I cursed myself for running away the last time we met. If I had stayed, with you at my side, perhaps I could have found the courage to try. Yet fate has conspired to bring you here, and with Edda's ring, now we need to find a Varys to complete the set. Now I know what you're thinking, and no, I will not ask you to accompany me back to the Tamtara Deepcroft. Thankfully that won't be necessary. You see, the night before our fateful foray into the Deepcroft, Avery and I went to the doctor's for perhaps one too many drinks. We stumbled outside in drunken stupor, and it was there that he fell into the river. We thought it hysterical, that is, until we realized that not only were his gauntlets missing, but his ring as well. There's no use searching for it in the dark, so we decided to return at first light. Alas, we never found it. Edda could never know. Now, I would make things right. To do that, we must retrieve Avery's ring. Come. I very much doubt these shallow waters would carry his gauntlet far. Shrug. You find a pair of old rusted gauntlets. A cursory shake dislodges a dull ring from within. You found this gauntlet, truly. What of the ring? Please tell me it was still inside. A blood-encrusted ring found affixed to a pair of rusted gauntlets. Yes, this is it. Now all that remains is to find a place where we might lay their rings and hopefully their spirits to rest. Perhaps Limsa Laminza. It was, after all, where we all met. What could be what could be better than a beautiful view of the maritime city where their love first blossomed? I can think of no better place than Summerford. Meet me near the top of the skylift. I know a nice little spot with a beautiful view of Limsa. Back to Limsa Laminza. Well, Flatmarsh instead. Whatever. Summerford Farms remembered. Summerford Farms remembers. There we go. That's what it is. Oh, help. I've not been awake for that long, so excuse me. Which may be audible or noticeable from the sound of my voice. Oh well. Hey there. Would you look at that? It brings back such fond memories. Now, let us offer up our prayers to the dearly departed. Even in death, they suffered together, down there in the dark. Avere, Edda, I pray you sleep, and finally know true peace. And with that I believe we're finished here. Already I can feel a great weight has been lifted from my mind. Perhaps I may even enjoy a good night's rest. Words cannot express my gratitude, Lyn. You've seen me through much, and shown me what it means to be an adventurer. Our party lacked unity, and paid dearly for it. No one should suffer as they did, and I will do all I can to see other would-be heroes do not succumb to such a fate. Thank you. Nightmare's End. At least you get a little preview of the Heavensward quest theme. I'll sleep when I'm dead. And then we get ourselves the Chief Mourner. Anyway, from that sad but also, in my opinion, a really nice ending to that story. Time to get to something wonky. Because it's time for more Hildibrand. And Hildibrand is always a little bit, just a little bit weird. Hello. You're not one of my associates. This banquet is for invited guests only. If you have no business here, be on your way at once. Beg pardon, good sir. My name is Ellie, reporter of the Mithril Eye. If I might just have a moment of... Ah, yes, that too, Gil sensational rag. I read your tiresome screed about the self-styled phantom thief and his letter to challenge. If you have come to tell me my daughter is in danger, I can assure you that your concern is entirely unwarranted. I have not kept my Arabella safe to this day to see her whisked away from me by some fly-by-night rogue. I have spared no expense in securing the best protection that money can buy. The Brass Blades of Gerbera, an elite unit of the most lethal swordsmen in the Sultanate. They say one of them once caused a man's heart to burst just by looking at him. Askins? Askins? That's a word, but I don't know what it means. The moment they set eyes on the would-be thief will be his last. If the thief is obliged enough to allow himself to be seen, or do those goggles serve some purpose other than making the wearer look utterly ridiculous? Consulting Inspector Briarden, your reputation precedes you. And what, pray tell, would you propose? I have promised some of the wealthiest men in the realm that my daughter will be attending the festivities. To renege, and my word would have dire implications for the family trade. My proposal is a simple one. Entrust the investigation to me. The thief will be in shackles before the banquet commences, and it will cost you not a whit of your precious gil. Very well. Let us see if your reputation is deserved, but consider yourself warned. Greater fortunes than you will ever know hinge upon this banquet. I will not tolerate any disturbances. Such touching concern for his coin purse. If only you could muster the same for his daughter. But do tell, Inspector, after he slipped under your nose the last time, what makes you so confident that you can catch our thief this time around? Our man may boast 1,000 faces, but he has but a single modus operandi, and it is painfully obvious. A letter of challenge, a precious treasure whisked away from its rightful owner in the broad light of day. This tells me that the thief is an attention seeker with supreme confidence in his abilities. Doubtless he means to target the maiden using the same methods he used to abscond with the treaty blade. Even now, the fiend is in our midst, having assumed the identity of someone who will be in close proximity to Miss Arabella at the feast. I have already narrowed the field. Arabella's betrothed, Venice, would be an obvious target for our thief. So too would be his father, Morgant. Yalto Nalto and his wife, Sainana, the guests of honor, will give a toast to the couple's happiness. Both will be standing close to the stage where the bride-to-be is set to appear. Needless to say, we cannot rule out Guguremu himself. Finally, we have Leonard, a steward of Guguremu's, this is a fucking name, estate and Miss Arabella's personal attendant. All the key players, save for the Lapis Maiden herself, have assembled in Castle del Sol. Doubtless the Phantom Thief lurks among them. his face concealed, gathering information and planning his course of action. We will begin our questioning of the suspects immediately. Should you encounter any suspicious individuals, you are to report back to me at once. Hildibrand Manderville. I could smell the stench of idiocy and incompetence from a mile away. The pleasure is all mine, contriving Inspector Briarden. Forgive me for not revealing myself sooner. I was simply conducting a bit of preliminary undercover investigative work. Yet to see through my ingenious disguise with such ease, yes, I dare say your powers of observation rival even my own. Fear not, friends, I, Hildibrand, Agent of Inquiry, Inspector Extraordinaire, have arrived to defend the maiden's honor as only a Manderville man can. He does realize there's a fish on his head, doesn't he? Good Inspector, I realize we may not have seen eye to monocle in the past, but a fair maiden's virtue mayhap her very life is at stake. From one gentleman to another, let us put aside our differences. Yes, I would welcome your assistance in this case. Me. Assist you? Aren't you a funny man? Oh, it makes no matter. My plan is so flawless that not even your bungling bulging Asher can interfere this time. If you wish to assist me, you may do so by keeping watch over the suspects. In the meantime, I have a promising lead to investigate. I shall return before the banquet begins. While I know this may be asking much, do not try to do anything too stupid in my absence, will you? I would speak with you, but not here. I'll be waiting for you outside Costa del Sol. Come quickly, for we do not have the luxury of time. Okay, I have a weird issue with my screen lately, where it just suddenly goes black. Like, I can still hear the audio. Well, actually that makes sense, I can still hear the audio because I'm plugged in directly with my PC, but it's so weird. I don't know why it does this. You've come. Excellent. With that buffoon suitably distracted, we can get to more important matters. But before we proceed, what might I call you? An unremarkable name, but it will suffice. Now answer me this, Lynn. Jesus. You were there when the Phantom Thief, in the guise of Lady Durilda, stole off with the 3D blade. Was there anything about our foe's disguise that struck you as particularly noteworthy? That is for me to know. I guess the identical... The obvious answer, and yet all too many, a certain self-styled gentleman comes to mind. Could not recognize a clue if it hit him upside the head. Your observation is astute. A thorough inspection of the mask left behind at the scene revealed a tiny prism sewn into the fabric. It is this stone that allows them to change appearance at will. Clearly, our man is no ordinary thief. Magics far outside the grasp of the common folk are at his disposal. This in itself gives us insight into his identity and his ways. And yet, this is not what caught my eye. No, from movements to mannerisms to that utterly obnoxious personality, the thief did not merely look like Lady Durilda, he was her. Such a feat could not be accomplished by magical trickery alone. We are dealing with a clever and thorough criminal. Not content to rely on his ample powers of disguise, he studies his targets closely before assuming their identities. He emulates them utterly and completely, that not even their closest friends or family could detect that aught is amiss. All the key players arrived at the Costa del Sol 3 days ago, when preparations for the banquet began. This would afford our thief more than enough time to study his would-be targets. And yet some disguises are more challenging than others. Put yourself in the mind of our Phantom, Lynn. If you were the thief, whose identity would you first assume? First. I feel one of the guests. Would he? The guests are well acquainted with each other. One misstep and the thief's cover could be blown. No, there is a more logical first target, one that would afford him the opportunity to gather the knowledge he needs, and at less risk. Yes, one of the brass blades of the Gerbera. Strong in number, few of words, able to come and go as they please, a fearsome reputation to scare away any who who would draw near enough to realize something was amiss. An ideal entry into Castle's soul for our man. Deducing as much, I made a point to question brass blades in the area. Little to my surprise, I learned that there was one man who had not been seen at his favorite alehouse for 3 days past. Our thief has not made a habit of wanton murder. Doubtless the poor man is lying naked in a ditch not far from here. In addition to general security details, each of the blades have been assigned to serve as bodyguards for one or more of the guests. If the man can tell us of his assigned charge, like as not, his answer will reveal the current identity of our thief. Our thief would not have had the time to carry the unconscious man far. I will canvass the immediate area. You begin your search on the outskirts of Castle Sol. Also this. You know what? I'm gonna assist with this. Because this gives me an achievement. It's a difficult fate, so... This is not a fate that you can do on your own. Okay, you know what? Let's go and do something else. I'm going to go and turn myself into a healer. If I can. But I'm still in combat, technically. We're going to leave. Come on. I'm still in combat, apparently. Come on, buddy. I hate this about Fates, by the way. It's the one thing I absolutely despise about Fates. Come on! Jesus Christ. No, you bitch! Ah! I was right there, buddy. I was ready to heal you. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, there he is. Bum, 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 da 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 bum, 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 da da da. Also, why is this guy? Does he have his tank stance on? Well, there he goes. There he freaking goes. Oh boy. Bum bum. Ba 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 bum bum. Ba ba bum bum bum. Ba 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 bum bum. Oh, he just left the freaking fate so that he doesn't die. I was like, why can't I heal him? He's just constantly gonna reset the fate, although I'm healing him, but whatever. Because yeah, he's not in the fate anymore now. As long as I give this guy a regen, he'll be fine. He's a warrior, so he can self-heal. To a certain degree, in any case. It's not amazing when you're at this level, but it should normally suffice. This may draw the aggro of the occupants, though, using regen. Nah. Bubble bath. Who needs to do quests when you can do fates instead? If I get the chance to do some of these fates, I will do them though. Just for funsies, really. I need to sleep again. Oh my god, the dude decided to leave the fate again. So they could kill the ads and then go back into the fate. That is ridiculous. Well, there's a tactic though. It's not something that you can't do, but... You should normally have no worries with me being here. However, he does not really like avoiding that AoE, huh? That's a lot of fish. Oh, a lot of jellyfish, really. Look at that. Look at this! I only just noticed this freaking army of jellyfish. Holy balls. That's some freaking nightmare feel right there. At least they die relatively quickly. Also, something else that you may have noticed about Lynn is that she doesn't have the sprite anymore. I decided to... like, some people asked me about this. And I decided to just leave that for now, really. Like, I decided to remove the sprite icon because I already know the game well enough. So I'm not really a sprite anymore, so it feels weird to run around with the sprite icon. To be 100% honest. Just a personal preference, really. It's like I don't really want people thinking that I don't know what I'm doing. Because I know more than enough what I'm doing. Most of the time, in any case. Doesn't mean that I can't make mistakes, of course. And there we go. The crab has been killed, and we get the small shell minion. Right. And then I'm gonna go back to my ninja. And we're gonna go and continue Hildibrand. So I think if I take a look at the current area, there's no other achievements left now. Hello, Mr. Brassplate. Excellent, you are one of the less incompetent assistants I've worked with. So thank the gods. Please free me from these chains before the snippers eat me alive. There, now tell me. Tell me all you can remember about what happened to you. And try to be brief. We just arrived in Costa del Sol. At a briefing of sorts, Master Guguremu gave us each our orders, who would be looking after, and the like. Had a mind to tour the area, get my bearings. Next thing I knew, I felt a thwack on the back of my head, and when I came to, there I was, stripped to my skivvies. Much to the chagrin of those of those of us who have to look at you. You say you received orders from Master Guguremu. Who was to be your charge? My memory is hazy, but one was Morgan, father of the groom. The other was a lawful and gent from Limsa. Yalto Nalto. Now try your best to remember. Were there any other guests with whom you were ordered to interact? Come to think of it, yes. There was also the steward, Leonard. I was to review him with him the schedule of events. Discuss the protection of key supplies, this sort of thing. Morgan, Yalto, Nolto, and Leonard. Thank you. For an incompetent fool, your testimony has proved astonishingly enlightening. I shall see this man back to the city and into the possession of some new clothes, after which I shall return to Costa del Sol to continue the investigation. Go on ahead of me, and for the love of God, just make sure that imbecile doesn't cause too much trouble in my absence. Nod. Once again, my screen goes black. What the fuck? Stop doing that! What's wrong? Ah, there you are, friends. Another moment too soon, for I was about to commence my investigation in earnest. Tell me, did your and Inspector Bryden's avenue of inquiry bear fruit? Morgan, Tialto Nalto, and the steward Leonard, you say? This is not surprising. Yes, I had considered them all exceptionally suspicious from the start. With the Lapis Maiden in danger, we cannot afford a moment's delay. I, Hildibrand, shall have our thief in shackles before the Inspector returns. Fear not, friend, the Inspector shall be none the wiser. Haha! If he had hoped to nab the fiend for himself, he should not have simplified the task for me so. Ah, there's one of our suspects standing suspiciously under that canopy over there. Just you wait, fiend! I shall rip that mask from your face and reveal you for the rogue that you are. Stand back, friends. The man we pursue is a criminal mastermind. The mere slip of the tongue could could put our case, nay, our very lives in danger. But have no fear, Miss Ellie. Ready your quill, that you might record my every word as I employ the time-honored art of parley, handed down from Maniville men of ages past to reveal our foe. I can think of a few topics that would interest my readers less than your blathering. Just catch the thief so I can have my story, would you? Don't worry, Inspector. I brought my quill and journal too. Your adoring fans won't miss a word. Capital. This is why you are my favorite assistant, Nashu. Now, behold as I ensnare our prey with a web of words, leading to his inevitable demise. Good day, Master Guguremu, and a fine day it must be for you most of all. Allow me to offer my most heartfelt congratulations on your betrothal to the enchanting Miss Arabella. What is this nonsense? Arabella is my daughter. You... Just who in S7 else are you, anyway? Guards! Guards! Now hold your chocobos, Guguremu. I recognize the lad. This is Hildibrand, agent of inquiry and inspector extraordinaire. Come to save the lovely lass from the clutches of the phantom thief, have you? I reckon we owe the man a gratitude. Aye, Venice? The phantom thief? Balderdash and rot, if you ask me. That said, my betrothed must be quite a beauty indeed to have such a rumours told about her. Perhaps she's worthy of me after all, haha. He exudes an unusual degree of confidence for such an effete, fashion-challenged youth. Most suspicious. He's a damn sight easier on the eyes than you. That's me, Venice. Ever calm in the face. Truly its father's son. A worthy heir to the Bergera consortium and a worthy match for my daughter, I must say. Yes, I foresee many years of prosperity for our families. Or family, I should say. Ho ho. Which reminds me, Master Venice, Arabella asked me to convey her gratitude to you for the golden clasp you sent her. You sent some months ago. It has not left her neck since the day. Oh, that little trinket? 'Twas nothing. Tell your daughter the greatest treasures in the realm will be hers once we are wed. Oh. No? Okay. I thought that was going to be the end of the cutscene. Time-honored Manorville art of parley would be sleeping with the fishes now had Morgan not spoke on your behalf. That said, nothing about the interactions between the three struck me as particularly unnatural. Let us not rush to conclusions, Miss Ellie. A gentleman fancies a more methodical approach. Yes, everything is proceeding according to my master plan. Whoops, I was supposed to be taking this down, wasn't I? Everything is proceeding according to my master plan. I sought only to earn the trust of the families before confronting Yalto Nolto and Luinart. We have aroused my suspicion from the start. Come, we have a thief to apprehend. Jesus. And suddenly it switches over really quickly. I have not seen your faces around here. With the East Aldenar Trading Company, are you? Why, yes, good sir. Very much with them. Some might even say we are the East Aldenar Trading Company. Oh, pleasure to meet you. Do tell, is the Lapis Maiden as lovely as they say? St. Anna's here's no slight herself, but like me, she's getting on in years, or no offense intended, my dear. Oh, but where me matters. Yalto Nolto, the Bergere Consortium, and this is me wife, St. Anna. I look forward to many profitable dealings with you, and yours in the moons and years to come. I dare say this wedding and the joining together of our family businesses couldn't be happening at a better time. What with all manner of fell beasts and beastmen taking aim at our wares. Why, just the other day a shipment of important foodstuffs was waylaid by the Mandragoras. Nasty beggars, a lot of them. If I were 20 years younger, I'd dice them up myself and make a salad out of them. Yeah, I've heard of the Mandragoras, haven't you? But of course, I once spent a year honing body and mind with the fist of Ralgor. My fellow monks and I would chant several hundred mantras. What's it today? And their food stores were occasionally raided by the ruthless band of rogue vegetables known as the Mandragoras, yes? Would it kill you to read the Mithril Eye and educate yourself from time to time? A fearsome lot they are. Rumor has it that they'll not rest until every fruit or vegetable harvested for consumption has been freed from captivity. Why, they struck at the larder here just days ago. Our supplies were decimated. Fear not, milady, I was able to arrange for an emergency shipment to replace the stolen produce. It arrived safely some time ago. Settle down, Saisana. Forgive me, wife. She's always saying how meat is bad for her figure, and with that, I'd best go prepare me speech. Me sheeps. Me sheeps, yes. Carry on, lads. No. Okay, Jesus Christ. Criminy, none of these three were suspicious in the least, but we must not give up hope, lest he of many faces have the last laugh. Where there is a will, a gentleman shall find a way. Come, Nashu, we must move quickly, or the Lapis Maiden shall not be the only one to come to harm. You speak so fast, Inspector. Sign of a quick mind for sure. Or I'm sure. Now, where was I? Give up hope. He of many faces will laugh last. The Lapis Maiden shall not be the only one to come to harm. Or shall not be the one to... whatever. I'm not sure that captures the Inspector's intended meaning. But this is no time for us to be standing around. Inspector Bryden will be back at any moment, and he's not the type to suffer excuses. Quite so, Miss Ellie. Fortunately, I have a plan. Let us investigate the foodstuffs of which Master Luinart spoke. Should we find any contradictions in his testimony, we can consider the man a prime suspect. Inspector Briarden will be back before long. Come, Nashu. This is no time to delay. Okay. I'm gonna be right back, my friends, because I want to figure this stuff out. Why my screen is doing this. Alright. I'm back. I took a look, and once again, it flashed off again. And again. Is this... You know what I feel like it is? It's so weird, but I feel like this is caused by my microphone. Such a weird thing to think. But I feel like my microphone somehow interferes with my screen. Because when I don't use my microphone, I don't have this thing. It doesn't happen otherwise. Only happens when I use my microphone. It's so weird. And the thing is, like, I'm recording on my laptop, so it's not even plugged into my desktop. So, like, the interference would be so weird, really. Can you stop doing this? I swear to God. I'm gonna be right back again, because I need to fix this. Alright. I changed my... this is kind of insane. I changed my settings, basically, to the point that I now am not in borderless windows, which is what I kind of like, because that way I can leave my game without everything going wonky. However, the thing that may be happening, there's either two things that could be happening. This is gonna be some tech talk, I guess. Either the cable that I'm using, which is a digital port cable, I think it's DPI, I'm not sure. It's either that cable being of poor quality and easily influenced by a lot of other frequencies around it, because it's not very well insulated, which I think is probably one of the things, or it has something to do with my borderless windowed. It also does something weird with that. Because I think this could be wrong, because I'm not a tech wizard, at least not when it comes to computers. It could definitely be, since I use borderless windowed and I go on higher frame rates, and a little bit more unstable, also on a higher frequency. I'm sorry, no. It's on a higher frame, or like a higher, jeez. It's on a higher frequency, but also I think on a higher resolution. And if I look at the box where the cable came with, it tells me that it can't really properly do that cable. So it hasn't flickered yet. So let's hope that just by going into full screen, this has fixed everything. And I don't really need to go out of full screen when I'm recording anyway. Although this is an issue that I would like to fix for, ever. Because it's really annoying when you're raiding or doing anything, and suddenly your screen goes black for a second. Crates of assorted fruitstuffs and veritable host of luscious-looking coconuts. It appears that our man Leonard spoke true. Ye gats. Are those explosives I spy concealed among those coconuts? Perhaps I spoke in haste. It would appear that we have found our phantom thief, after all. Ah, those are mine, Inspector. I was looking for a place to set them down, you see, and those coconuts were looking awfully lonely. Nashu, far be it from me to cast doubt on your choice of hobbies, but what in the name of the 12 possessed you to bring your creations to an investigation? Well, they were so helpful in jogging your memory that one time, and I just thought, does this mean you won't be needing this piece of driftwood either? Your enthusiasm is always admirable, Nashu, but in this event I fear it's somewhat misdirected. Now, set the driftwood down over there and concentrate on taking notes like the astute assistant you are. I say, we are most fortunate that confounding Inspector Briarden is otherwise occupied at the moment. Were to chance upon this scene, he would veritably explode in rage. Now let us dispose of these things before an errant ember sends us all into a fiery demise. Confounding Inspector Briarden, explode, a fiery demise. Got it. Are you sure about that? Uh-oh. Don't look now, but someone has returned at the absolute worst possible time. You two are supposed to be keeping an eye on the suspects and staying out of trouble, yes? The inspector will have a fit if he sees you there. Or here. But Miss Ellie, should Inspector Briarden come upon these explosives, the consequences would be even more dire. Then and I will see that the inspector keeps a wide berth of this beach. You two just get out of here and be quick about it. Quick thinking, Miss Ellie. Come, Nasher, we shall return for our creations once Inspector Briarden has been led safely from the scene. Investigation calls us, and we must heed its cry. Whoopsie. Completo. Alright, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Just I was playing Final Fantasy XIV. Now I'm yawning. Cheers. And next episode we're going to go and continue with the Hildibrand questline. I've also found something else, which I find kind of interesting. So I was a little bit confused why I couldn't continue doing the Moogle questline, if you remember, the post-Moogle stuff. And apparently, which I noticed also, when I started the Hildibrand questline, it unlocked the next post-Moogle quest, so I'm pretty sure that has something to do with Hildibrand. So we can also continue doing that one after we are done with Hildibrand, because now I'm gonna stick around with Hildibrand until we're done. Anyway, goodbye.